I never thought I'd end up here, sitting on the floor of a penthouse I no longer own, surrounded by boxes of things I don't even recognize as mine. The movers are coming tomorrow, and I'm supposed to be packing, but all I can do is stare at the empty walls and wonder how it all went so wrong. Hi, I'm Claire, 34 years old, and I've just lost everything. Well, not everything. I still have my pride, or at least that's what I tell myself as I sip cheap wine from a plastic cup. The truth is, I don't even know what pride feels like anymore. All I know is this hollow ache in my chest, this gnawing sense that I've been living a lie for years. You're probably judging me already. That's fine. I've judged myself enough for both of us. But before you write me off as the villain of this story, let me tell you how it started. Let me show you the girl I used to be, the one who thought she had it all figured out. I met Ethan at a charity gala. Of course, it was a charity gala. That's where people like him go to feel good about themselves, and people like me go to pretend we belong. He was tall, with that kind of effortless charm that makes you feel like you're the only person in the room. I remember the way he smiled at me, not the polite, practiced smile he gave everyone else, but something real, something that made my stomach flip. "Claire, right?" he said, as if he'd been waiting all night to talk to me. I nodded, trying to play it cool, but inside I was screaming. Ethan Carter. The Ethan Carter. Billionaire tech mogul, philanthropist, and apparently the kind of guy who remembered your name after one introduction. We talked for hours that night. Or maybe it was minutes. Time has a way of bending when you're caught in someone's orbit. He told me about his company, his vision for the future, and I hung on every word. Not because I cared about tech or startups, but because of the way he looked at me, like I was the missing piece he'd been searching for. Looking back, I should have seen the red flags. The way he talked about his exes, the way he dismissed anyone who didn't share his ambition. But I was too caught up in the fantasy to notice. Too busy imagining what my life could be like with him. The first year was perfect. Or at least, it felt perfect at the time. Ethan swept me off my feet in every way imaginable. Lavish dinners, spontaneous trips, gifts that made my friends green with envy. But it wasn't just the money. It was the way he made me feel, like I was special, like I was the only one who truly understood him. I quit my job 6 months in. "You don't need to work," he said, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "I'll take care of you." And I believed him. Why wouldn't I? He was Ethan Carter, the man who could make anything happen. But somewhere along the way, things started to shift. It was subtle at first. A comment here, a look there. Little reminders that this life, this perfect life, came with strings attached. "You're spending too much," he said one night, glancing at the credit card statement. I laughed it off. "It's just a dress, Ethan. You can afford it." He didn't laugh back. "Let me know if you'd like me to continue with the next section or adjust anything in this part. I can expand on the rising tension or dive deeper into Claire's internal conflict." The first real fight happened over something stupid. A pair of shoes, of all things. "Claire, do you really need another pair of Louboutins?" Ethan asked, his voice tight as he glanced at the shopping bag in my hand. I rolled my eyes. "It's not like we can't afford it." "That's not the point," he said, his tone sharper than I'd ever heard it. "It's about priorities. You're acting like money grows on trees." I froze, the words hitting me like a slap. "Excuse me? I'm not the one who told me to quit my job. You wanted this, remember? You wanted me to be the perfect trophy wife." His jaw tightened. "That's not what I meant, and you know it." But I didn't know it. All I knew was the sting of his words, the way they made me feel small and insignificant. I stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind me, and spent the rest of the night scrolling through Instagram, convincing myself I was justified. The fights became more frequent after that. Little things at first, how I spent my days, the friends I kept, the way I decorated the house. But then it escalated. "You're never home," I snapped one night, pacing the living room as he sat on the couch, scrolling through emails on his phone. "I'm working, Claire," he said without looking up. "You know that." Working? Or avoiding me? He finally looked at me, his expression unreadable. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means you're never here. You're always at the office or on some business trip. I'm stuck in this house all day, waiting for you to come home, and when you do, you're too tired to even talk to me." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. I'm building something, Claire. Something that's going to change the world. I can't just drop everything because you're bored. Bored? I repeated, my voice rising. Is that what you think this is? That I'm just some spoiled housewife with nothing better to do? He didn't answer, and that silence, that damn silence, was worse than anything he could have said. The breaking point came on a rainy Tuesday night. We were at dinner. One of those fancy restaurants where the waiters know your name and the wine costs more than most people's rent. Ethan was talking about some new project, something about AI and global markets, but I wasn't listening. I was too busy scrolling through my phone, pretending to care about the lives of people I hadn't spoken to in years. Claire, he said, his voice cutting through the noise in my head. I looked up, startled. What? Are you even listening to me? I shrugged. It's not like I understand any of it anyway. His eyes narrowed. You could try. Why? So I can impress your business friends? So I can play the part of the perfect wife a little better? He set his fork down, his expression hardening. Is that really what you think this is? A performance? Isn't it? I shot back. You wanted a wife who looks good on your arm, who knows how to smile and nod at the right moments. Well, congratulations, Ethan. You got exactly what you wanted. For a moment, he just stared at me, his face unreadable. Then he leaned back in his chair, his voice cold and measured. Maybe I did, but what did you get, Claire? A life you didn't earn? A husband you don't even respect? The words hit me like a punch to the gut, but I didn't let it show. Instead, I smiled, that same practiced smile I'd perfected over the years. At least I'm honest about it. He didn't say anything after that. He just paid the bill, walked me to the car, and drove us home in silence. The next few weeks were quiet, too quiet. Ethan started coming home later, leaving earlier. He stopped asking about my day, stopped pretending to care about the things I cared about. And I let him. I told myself it was fine, that I didn't need him, that I had everything I wanted, the money, the lifestyle, the freedom to do whatever I pleased. But the truth was, I was lonely. I started filling the void with shopping sprees and spa days, with parties and trips, and anything that could distract me from the growing distance between us. But no matter how much I spent or how many people I surrounded myself with, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. And then, one night, it all came crashing down. It was a Thursday night and Ethan was late, again. I sat on the couch, scrolling through my phone, trying to ignore the growing knot of anger in my chest. The clock on the wall ticked louder with every passing minute, and by the time I heard the front door open, I was seething. Where have you been? I demanded as soon as he walked in. He didn't even look at me. Work, he said, shrugging off his coat. Work? It's 10 p.m., Ethan. What could possibly be so important that you had to stay this late? He finally turned to me, his expression tired and exasperated. I don't have to explain myself to you, Claire. Oh, really? Because last I checked, I'm your wife, or am I just another one of your employees now? He sighed, running a hand through his hair. I'm not doing this tonight. Doing what? Having a conversation? God forbid you actually talk to me for 5 minutes. Claire, stop. No, you stop, I snapped, standing up. You don't get to just shut me out like this. I'm not some stranger, Ethan. I'm your wife. Are you? He asked, his voice cold. Because lately it feels like you're just here for the lifestyle. The words hit me like a slap, but I didn't back down. Oh, that's rich coming from you. You're the one who wanted this, remember? The perfect wife, the perfect life. Well, guess what, Ethan? You got it. And now you're mad because I'm not living up to your impossible standards. This isn't about standards, he said, his voice rising. This is about respect. You don't respect me, Claire. You don't respect what I've built. All you care about is what I can give you. That's not true. Isn't it? He shot back. When was the last time you asked me how my day was? When was the last time you did something for me that didn't involve spending my money? I opened my mouth to argue, but the words wouldn't come. Because deep down, I knew he was right. The silence that followed was deafening. Ethan stood there, his chest heaving, his eyes locked on mine. And for the first time, I saw the hurt behind the anger, the pain I'd caused without even realizing it. I'm done, he said finally, his voice quiet but firm. What? I'm done, Claire. I can't keep doing this. I can't keep pretending everything's fine when it's not. My heart raced, panic rising in my chest. Ethan, wait. No, he said, cutting me off. I've waited long enough. I've given you everything, and it's still not enough. I can't keep trying to make you happy when you don't even know what you want. That's not fair, I whispered, my voice trembling. Maybe not, he said, but it's the truth. And with that, he turned and walked out of the room, leaving me standing there, alone with the weight of everything I'd done. The next few days were a blur. Ethan moved into the guest room, and we barely spoke. When we did, it was only about logistics, bills, schedules, the things that needed to be taken care of. But the easy banter, the shared laughter, the little moments that had once made us feel like a team, they were gone. I tried to pretend it didn't bother me. I threw myself into shopping and socializing, filling my days with distractions. But no matter how much I spent or how many people I surrounded myself with, I couldn't shake the emptiness inside. And then, one night, it all came crashing down. I was sitting in the living room, scrolling through Instagram, when I came across a photo of Ethan at a charity event. He was smiling, his arm around a woman I didn't recognize. She was beautiful, of course, tall, elegant, the kind of woman who looked like she belonged in his world. My stomach churned as I stared at the photo, a wave of jealousy and regret washing over me. But it wasn't just jealousy. It was something deeper. Something I hadn't let myself feel in a long time. Guilt. I sat there for hours, staring at that photo, replaying every fight, every argument, every moment I'd taken him for granted. And for the first time I saw it, the truth I'd been too proud to admit. I had used him, not just for his money, but for his love, his attention, his validation. I'd built my entire identity around him, and when he stopped giving me what I wanted, I lashed out instead of trying to fix it. And now, it was too late.